This is Jared.
This is Keels.
Back at it again with another episode of Bikini Bottom Banter. We got a unique one today. So we saw the episode Shanghai and Gary takes a bath. But what makes this different is that Shanghai actually has an alternate title. The original title of this episode was called You Wish. And You Wish, to explain, back in 2001, Spongebob was, blowing up steam essentially. And what happened is, Nickelodeon put a tie-in because, again, this is low-key why I think Nickelodeon was always the best network. They said, hey, we're going to do a special episode where viewers can choose what the ending of the Spongebob episode is. So, they said we're going to let kids choose, and you have three choices. SpongeBob's ending, Patrick's ending, and Squidward's ending. And Keels and I watched all three endings, so we will be talking about it. So, yeah, and essentially when it comes to the plot of this Hidden Gem episode, is it a hidden gem, though? Because of the... yeah. Alright, but the plot of this episode is that SpongeBob's enjoying his morning routine, an anchor comes through his house, then swoops into Squidward's house, so then he gets involved, and that anchor belongs to the Flying Dutchman. So, Squidward being Squidward gives, the Flying Dutchman and then he chucks him into an eternity fall. What would you describe it as, Keels?
Well, I think he called it the Fly of Despair.
The Fly of Despair. There we go.
So it was like a different portal to like some other dimension that has nothing but like ghouls and goblins screaming and look like spirits. I don't even know what it was.
You saw that though. That's spaghetti and meatballs at some point. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, when he was just falling through the spaghetti.
Yo. And the horror image on Patrick and SpongeBob's face, like it was like, oh, it was dark.
Yeah.
So by default, Squidward's out of the game, and the Flying Dutchman appoints SpongeBob and Patrick as his new, lackeys of the Flying Dutchman ship. So they have to scare the residents of Bikini Bottom. They then fail, and the Flying Dutchman just gets so tired of the shenanigans.
Yeah.
Shanghai, thus hence the title, I guess, that he's like, I'm just going to eat you guys for dinner. So, and now they have to escape, which leads into the wish.
Yeah.
So, we were scraping at the bottom of the barrel for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely feel like there's a couple jokes. What would you think? What's your favorite joke, Keels?
Okay, let me see. So for Shanghaied, yeah, it would have to be. I don't have much. So it would have to be the Flying Dutchman throwing Squidward into the Fly of Despair, just for the fact that it was like something different that we haven't seen, And then I guess that's supposed to be the funny part where he's just falling through this abyss with weird monsters and he's just screaming. And then when he stops falling, he falls through the spaghetti and then he falls into his house. But then when the Flying Dutchman asks Patrick and SpongeBob for their wishes, SpongeBob is like, I wish Squidward was here to see this.
At the wrong moment.
Literally because Squidward was off the ship and in his house, and in that moment when SpongeBob made his wish for Squidward to be there, he was like, oh, well, I gotta grant the wish, and then Squidward just magically appears back on the boat, and then, after all that,
yo,
I would have been mad.
He was falling for days, and then it's like, glad that's over.
Right.
And popped him back.
Yo, they were just wasting wishes.
Ooh. Which actually, pigging back on that, it leads into... I had two favorite jokes. One of them was for sure when Patrick's like, wishes? I wish we knew that earlier. And the clock just goes back 5 minutes. And he's like, okay, you got 2 wishes.
Oh, I missed that part. That's crazy he did that. That's crazy.
Like, the little subtlety on that, I was like, dang.
Yeah, that's crazy he did that.
But my second joke, for sure, it's not even like to me, it always made me laugh as a kid because it's so innocent. So they have to find residents in Bikini Bottom to scare. And the first dude they show, SpongeBob's like, hey, what about that dude? And it's this, like, clearly buff guy walking with his headphones, like, metal on him and everything.
Yeah.
And the Flying Dutchman is low-key scared, so he blows the spin the bottle thing to the kid.
Yeah.
And the kid has this hilarious, I had 4 biscuits, then I ate 1. Now I only had 3. Like, I'm just like... what? Like, it's so innocent. Like, it's just
Literally.
like... But it's hilarious. I had 4 biscuits, then I ate 1. Now I only had 3. Like... Dang. And even with it, he was still not scared of SpongeBob and Patrick.
Yeah.
Which, that was actually pretty funny, too, when you were saying, because you're good, that joke.
Oh, when he's scraping
the
boat through the rocks, yeah.
Yup.
What? Yeah. But I wasn't saying that for favorite joke. I was saying that for meme worthy.
Just really? You think that's the meme worthy one?
I was saying because you were actually no, it's not.
I go with
yeah, that's definitely the meme worthy. He just kept screaming.
Patrick was going in.
Yeah, he was. I don't have anything I would change.
Really?
No, because this episode to me is not that great. So
dang. He's like, I changed the episode.
Let me see. Let me see if I can change this into a more interesting episode.
I have one thing.
Why? Now, I would say, why was the Flying Dutchman, like, what was he doing?
Why was he
For
there?
him to, like, drop his anchor and...
I mean, I feel like the Flying Dutchman is just like a creature where he's just there. So when he cruises in Bikini Bottom, you know, he's just sailing. So I'm sure he doesn't look, oh, my anchor just hit the coral reefs or it just swung into the Krusty Krab. And because residents there are so scared of him, he's probably like, oh, who flew this? Oh, it's the Flying Dutchman? You're good.
I would have had had it established that, okay, you guys are on this ship, you guys are going to work for me. And then I would have had them just running from the Flying Dutchman the whole episode, and just that you can just make your jokes from there,
like a Scooby-Doo type thing.
That's exactly what I was thinking. You just make random jokes, and you just
I can see that.
Yeah, literally just a rip off of a Scooby-Doo episode. I guess just to throw as much jokes in there because there wasn't much of a story.
I think for what they had, they told a story, but it definitely like jumped and popcorn to certain things. Yeah. Like there was the one thing I would change where it just seemed like random is like, oh, like we have to go through the front door or the perfume department. Yeah. I would change that. Like it just seemed too random to me. Like I get it, but it's like
While I feel like that was funny, that was a funny joke. Yeah, I feel you. I would definitely cut that out. Just like I'm gonna. Actually, no, I would have kept that in, and I would have that would have been part of the random jokes of like they're trying to run away from. Yeah.
But it would have worked if it was like that. That's the thing. Yeah. But because it's not, it's like this thing happens and then this random thing is inserted in there.
I feel like that was their attempt to like we gotta get some laughs in here.
And see, that kind of goes back into the endings. So Keels and I watched all 3 endings. So the ending that everybody knows, because when it's run in syndication and when it's on DVDs and streaming and everything like that, is that SpongeBob, in order to not get eaten, wishes that all 3 of the Flying Dutchman was a vegetarian. Uh-huh. And I think this is a pretty clever shot. Like, they think they're home because there's a pineapple behind them, but they actually turned into fruits. And the Flying Dutchman's about to put him in a fruit smoothie. Yeah,
that was the funniest out of
it was clever.
Out of the 3.
And
very SpongeBob-esque.
I think the animators knew that too, because we'll get into the each ending. So Patrick's ending was that he pulls a Patrick and they're like, yo, like SpongeBob and Squidward are like, come on, Patrick, like you got to think about how we get us out of here. He's thinking as hard as he can, and the toaster in his head finally goes off, and he wishes for gum. And it's gum to have fresh breath, so at least if we're going to get eaten, at least we'll be fresh. Like,
Yeah, not a great ending.
Yeah,
That's like one of those bad SpongeBob endings. Not a great ending. I'm glad they didn't go with that one.
Yeah, and the animation, I'll say that too. Like for Patrick and Squidward, it's almost identical. Like they use the same shot of the Flying Dutchman eating them. Mm-hmm. They're not like fully like eaten, but it's like, but even that, like I feel like they knew because it's pretty dark. Like the Flying Dutchman ate them, and they show him with his full belly just out. Like, like you have to think about that from a kid's perspective. It's like, wow, all right. And then Squidward's ending. Pulling a Squidward, he's like, I'm tired of this. He just got pulled into this again. I wish I never met you guys. And then they get amnesia.
Yeah, that's funny. Now that's kind of funny. That's kind of a funny one. Yeah.
I wish I never met you guys.
And they were still on the boat.
Yep.
That was kind of funny.
It's for sure clever funny. Like, it's just like, wow, all right. That's funny. But I don't know. Again, the animation was almost identical. I had a feel like you could just tell that they were going to go with SpongeBob's ending. Yeah. And for anybody who is watching this via streaming or anything, you can tell with Patchy in the beginning and like the way that his like dialogue is, it's dubbed, but it's like very poorly dubbed. So look out for that. I wish that Nickelodeon would release like a HD version of the You Wish version, or somebody would put it on YouTube. And if there is, drop it in the comments. We'd love to check it out.
Yeah.
All right. And then you talked about scraping.
I gotta say, boy, this right here was a stinker.
Yeah, the no whammies. Now it's funny. To set up before we say the title, I have this in my thing I would change. My thing I would change is I wish this whole episode didn't exist.
Honestly, yeah.
Yo!
That was the terrible episode.
So Gary takes a bath.
Yeah.
It's like
it's a filler episode. An extreme filler episode.
I think the
nothing to it.
Yup. I think the best way to put it is, if you're watching a Nickelodeon movie in theaters and they usually have like a short or something or a this is the thing they put before the movie. Like, this is that cliche kid. You're watching a kid's movie. Here's a SpongeBob episode before you see your movie.
See, and that should have been like a quick 5-minute thing. You know what I mean?
Because it's fluff. It's one topic. It doesn't leave the confines of that.
No jokes.
And the crazy thing is, this episode, you know when it premiered? During the Kids' Choice Awards, and they promoted this as, it's a brand new SpongeBob episode. It's like, I'd be pissed.
See, that's what,
I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I remember this. All right, so if the title doesn't give it away, I don't even know. SpongeBob is trying to give Gary a bath, and
for the first time ever underwater.
Yeah. And basically, that's it. I mean, he just tries different things to...
Yeah, he tries luring him in with food. He tries throwing him in there. He tries getting in first and then having Gary follow his lead.
Yep.
Listen, I ain't got nothing on this one.
I'll say this. One, I wouldn't even put it like a laugh out loud funny. Like, SpongeBob tries bribing Gary, like, I got a fresh $1 for the next person who takes a bath in this house. And Mr. Krabs comes in, takes the $1.
That was funny. That was funny.
Bathtub thing.
Right. He started whipping that bathtub like a race car.
Like he says. And then another thing is, there's a lot of adult humor in this episode. So there's two shots in particular. Like, SpongeBob does this like psychic thing where he's like, I'm gonna put subliminal messages in your mind. And even as a kid, it just felt a little unsettling. So first he does like water, a shower, soap, and then it's this random country girl with pigtails. It's just random country girl pigtails looking all like goofy.
Yeah, it was a weird distorted face.
Yeah.
Teeth. It was nasty looking.
and then he's just like, sorry you had to see that. It's just like, you knew. I need a whole backstory. I need a whole backstory for why that was put in. Like, I'm about, like, we need to interview somebody or something. Like, why was that shot put in there? I don't even know, like, yo.
Because they knew they ain't have nothing to, they ain't have nothing to, like, put in the episode. So they just, I don't know, let's just throw something in there. I really don't know.
Yeah, like, okay, yeah. And she has a whole Wikipedia page, too. Her name is Subliminal Message Girl. That's it. Like, description, no trivia. Wow. So apparently, that's crazy. So apparently, when this episode is shown on YTV, which is Canadian networks, they censor the entire thing.
Because it's weird. Yeah,
that's
it's just
weird.
Because that's like one of those disturbing images to where, like, I don't know, it's supposed to, like, that might scare a kid or something.
Yeah, it definitely, Pippi Longstocking looks like that, but there's nothing on it. Like, I need to hear a story, like, why is this put in?
Right.
And then the other subliminal message, which everybody does talk, not subliminal, but the adult humor, is SpongeBob pretends that, the bathtub is buried treasure, has a map, and Gary's like, this, like, does his usual meow, and it's like, oh yeah, it is buried treasure. He kicks the paint can. He's like, look, doubloons. Has the bar of soap, and then SpongeBob just winks and says, don't drop them, and I'm like, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like,
that is wild. And then when Gary... So this whole time, Gary's like outsmarting SpongeBob to stay out of the bathtub, and so I don't even know how this happened. So he gets a ladder. SpongeBob climbs the ladder. Oh, okay. So there's like a fake Gary in this random tree, So SpongeBob's like, "Oh no, Gary's in this tree." Grabs a ladder, climbs up. Turns out that it's not actually Gary. It's like a record player, like, painted as Gary or whatever. So, like I said, Gary outsmarted him, and then Gary's actually at the bottom, and he takes the ladder, leaving SpongeBob in the tree. And so SpongeBob is like, Gary, get that ladder over here right now. And then he sees below him is like a giant puddle of mud or whatever. And then Gary is inching towards it, and SpongeBob, he's warning Gary not to go into it, but like Gary isn't. Actually, Gary was very disobedient this episode.
100%.
Never been this disobedient.
He was meowing.
So right, so he's about to go into the mud, and then it causes SpongeBob to fall into the mud. And then when he's, completely covered in mud or whatever, he's like, I'm a dirty boy. Like, ew.
No reason for that. I'm putting it in the adult
reason
humor
whatsoever.
joke. Yep.
No reason.
And it ends after that. That's it.
That's it.
SpongeBob gets a bath instead of Gary.
Yeah, they knew they didn't have nothing this episode. They knew.
This is the textbook definition of fluff.
Facts.
Like, if you want to know what fluff is, it's like, yo, we got to fill this, like, 7-8 minute gap. Not even a full 11. Throw this in, like.
Yeah, not the greatest. I ain't got nothing, man. I don't have a meme worthy. Yeah. I don't have anything I would change. I don't have anything. I don't have any favorite jokes.
Dang, this episode is in debt.
Literally,
it's in debt. It's got
bad
it's in the negative zone.
Yeah, bad episode.
Yo, like, I'm telling you, I don't know, man. Like, when I saw this too, it's like, but you know what? It's whatever. This is just, we found our stinker in season 2.
Yeah.
Stick with us on the journey, the next one is good. Like, the next episode is better, so that's good.
That's good. What is it?
It's either pressure or it's not prearmination or peer pressure. There we go.
Okay.
The episode that's our next one. Can't wait. It's the one where land creatures are better than sea creatures.
Okay, don't do. Okay. There we go. Get back to it. There we go. Get back to it.
To the promised land.
Nice.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. So until next time, this is Jared.
It's Keels.
All right. Another episode of Bikini Bottom Banter in the bag. This thing made me lose my catchphrase. It's like, we out.
Thanks for tuning in to another fantastic episode of Bikini Bottom Banter. Don't forget to follow Bikini Bottom Banter on TikTok and Instagram for even more content. Subscribe to them on YouTube and Anchor, plus turn on bell notifications to be updated on their latest episode. And if you've got your own jellyfishing stories or favorite Spongebob moments, remember to share them with us. You might just hear them on our next episode. So until then, stay bubbly, keep smiling, and remember, subscribe to Bikini Bottom Banter to know all the under the sea.